Just a friendly reminder that the opinions expressed on this show are not worth a Canadian penny, so disregard anything you hear that might get anyone in trouble. And despite some of the great ideas you may hear, don't try them at home. Go to a friend's house instead.
It's time to get a gun. That's what I've been thinking. Well, I could afford one. And if I did just a little less drinking, time to put something between me and the sun. When the talking is over, it's time to get a gun.
Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 177 of Slamfire Radio for October 21st, 2016. I'm one of your hosts, Matthew the Warning Shot McClatchy.
And I'm Adriel, the hunting gear guy, Michaud.
And I'm Kelly, the classy one, Lynn.
You sound so confident. And
I
am.
I don't know. Who am I?
I guess I'm Kelly, whatever. I don't know.
I suppose I
I
could
have
be
no
the
idea anymore.
I suppose I could be the frelatte for this episode.
I was so you know what I was going to say, Kelly, the social justice warrior.
Oh.
Well, that would have
Yeah.
been good too.
Well, most people wouldn't have got the joke unless they follow us
No.
on Facebook.
Yeah.
So,
Doesn't everybody follow us on Facebook?
no, there are some people that still aren't on the Facebook.
Whoa. They need to,
No.
seriously jump into the 28th century or whatever century we're in these days.
I don't know, Buck Rogers, but am I a scientist?
I don't think you are.
It's not brain science.
It's rocket surgery.
Rocket surgery, that's it. I hate being dyslexic.
Awesome. Well, why don't we kick off what we did in guns? And I'm going to go first because it consists of one word, and that's about as long as it takes because I was not successful. I went hunting.
Nope, you weren't successful. You went armed hiking.
If I went armed hiking, I was completely successful.
All right.
But
There you go.
but hunting, not so much. I went recently a few times, and I haven't seen a bird since last week. I haven't flushed
try some
one.
different
I haven't nothing. Like there's where I'm going is dead, and I'm doing it right. I remember the episode we had with Fred Boylan last year about this time. That was a great episode. You should go back and check that out if you want to talk about bird hunting. Great episode. But I did everything he said I should do, and there's just if the birds aren't there, I guess I can't shoot them.
Well, I'm hearing this from many, many New Brunswickers, Matthew, that the population is just way down this year. All the moose hunters came out of the woods and said, we didn't see a single bird. And then I went and we saw 3, but I guess that was certainly the exception to the rule because I'm hearing what you're saying across the board.
Yeah, it's pretty bleak out there. Regardless, I'm having a great time every time I go. I'm taking the truck off-road, so doing some off-roading in the truck. Curtis and I actually went bird hunting with the airplane, which was kind of cool. We didn't bird hunt from the airplane, but we used the airplane to get to some fields that we otherwise wouldn't have been able to get to, and got to go bird hunting a little bit there. So I've been having fun doing it, just haven't been successful.
I meant to ask you, Matthew, how much game you're seeing when you're up there. Like, what have you seen so far?
I see moose on a semi-regular basis. I see deer on an even more regular basis. I've seen a few black bears every now and then. I suspect I'll start seeing them again here soon as the leaves finish falling. And I've actually flushed a grouse with the plane once.
Really?
I was that low.
So you've got a good idea then of where to go for whitetail.
In Quebec.
Oh.
Yeah, all of the deer that I've seen so far are in Quebec. So no.
Oh, they're separatist deer, so never
yeah,
mind.
you wouldn't want it. They're bilingual deer. They don't taste very good.
No, they're
Yeah, I was
unilingual francophone deer. They don't taste good.
Exactly.
There you go.
They taste like failure and regret and surrender.
Oh, we're going to get hate mail over that one. That's Trevor Furlot, folks. Trevor Furlot. You can send your hate mail to Slamfire Radio, care of Trevor Furlot at gmail.com.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been doing lately, kind of walking around. Oh, I did pack up all of my guns in anticipation for the 3-gun this weekend over at Trevor's. I think I packed them up in vain because it's going to pour enough to flood the world again a second time. So I don't know if I'll actually shoot, but I'm going to go. I'm going to bring my guns with me, and if the weather's nice, maybe I'll go out and shoot, but chances are I'll help with stats in this ammo shack while everybody else goes out and shoots, because there's nothing I hate more than being rained on.
Being snowed on?
No, I love being snowed on. Doesn't bother me a bit. hate being rained on. I cannot stand being wet while I have my clothes on. I don't know what it is about it, but I hate being rained on more than I like shooting. So shooting loses, sitting in the camp with the warm fireplace helping with stats wins.
There you go.
So anyway, I'll be a help anyway if I can, and I get to hang out with all the guys afterwards, and that's really why I go anyway, to hang out with all the people. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to go.
Filthy burgers. Be honest. It's all about the filthy burgers.
It is. It really is. There's really no other. I just wanted to not sound like I didn't care about other people and that I cared about hamburgers more than, well,
it's a scale. I mean, it's a scale, right? You can care about me and care about hamburgers, but each one gets a certain amount of care. And if the burger gets more care than me, I don't fault you.
Well, it's hard for me to not make a joke now where you are talking about scales, but regardless, we're gonna move on, I think. And Trevor, why don't you tell us what you've been doing with guns lately?
All right. I did a little bit of shooting, but before I get into that, I want to talk about, and I meant to talk about this weeks ago, and it just got overlooked or I wasn't on or whatever. I had mentioned about renewing my firearms license online, and I just wanted to bring tell the listeners how easy it was. Now, when I did it, at first I was like, well, I'm not getting anything back from these people. Is there a problem? Did it go through? Did it not go through? I received a receipt for my credit card because they processed the fee on my credit card, but that was it. I had a confirmation number that I wrote down, and then that was it. So I got a receipt for the credit card, a confirmation number, but there was no email saying we're processing your application.
That's a bit disconcerting, right? Because anytime you buy something online, they send you an email right away with your receipt saying, yes, your order has been gone, your order's been processed, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and taking my money doesn't mean that I didn't make a mistake on the application.
There could have been some glitch somewhere, so yeah, it's weird that they just give you a confirmation number and then no confirmation email. I mean, how hard would it be to send out a confirmation email?
Well, I mean, when you send in your application by mail, they don't mail you a letter saying, okay, we got it.
That's true. You got a good point there. But they also don't send you a confirmation number either, so.
So I think it's, if there's a problem, we'll notify you. If not, we'll send you a license. And that's what happened.
Cool.
The other concern I had was I basically took a selfie with my cell phone. Right?
Is that how you sent in your picture?
Absolutely.
I'm not going to lie, I've done that myself.
Yeah, so I just took a selfie with my cell phone, uploaded the picture from my cell phone to the, or maybe I emailed it to myself, and then I saved it on my desktop, and then I uploaded it to the website through the application process.
And they took it no problem, eh?
Yeah. Now, when you fill out your application the old-fashioned way, your renewal the old-fashioned way on paper, and you mail it in, your spouse or whoever's living with you or whatever has to sign off on your firearms application. We all know this, those of us that have spouses. So basically, Christina typed her name into the keyboard. Now, I could have typed her name in the keyboard. How would they know the difference? I fully expected them to call and say, hey, we got this application, and your name is on it. Are you cool with this? Because there was no live ink signature,
right,
like there would be if we had done it the old-fashioned way. So they didn't call to verify with her that it was in fact her that signed off on the application. And the only thing I can think of is, well, maybe it's because her name has been on like my last 3 licenses.
Maybe if it was somebody new, they would have called.
Or 2 licenses for sure. And that's what I'm thinking. But maybe, anyway. So whatever. I'm happy they didn't slow the process down.
Sure.
So it went well. I mean, like I said, there was nothing. Next thing you know, a couple of weeks later, it didn't take long at all. My license came in. Now, when you call the 1-800-731-4000 number, it says you can check the status of your license renewal by going online. It's super easy, blah, blah, blah. So I went to check the status of my renewal, and I put in the confirmation number that they gave me, and it said, sorry, no file exists. And then,
that's not going to give you a stroke now, is it?
Exactly, because I waited. That everyone recommends that you renew your license 3 months prior to it expiring.
Yep.
Right. Well, what the public didn't know was when your license expired, there was a grace period already. But then when Bill C-42 went in, they made a big deal about now giving us 90 days grace period before turning us into paper criminals, right?
Right.
So I had waited to like the month before to renew. So when I tried to check the status online and it said no record found, I got a little panicky. And I called, and she was like, well, you did this like 2 weeks ago, so this is really unusual that I don't see it, that you're not getting anything. Anyway, but she said, I see that your application is being processed. It's with your CFO for the final whatever, and you're all good. And like 3 days later, my license arrived with the funniest looking selfie on it you've ever seen. Like the top of my head isn't even in frame. It's pathetic.
Duck face.
So you may or may
doing the
not
one
be
from
bald.
above.
Absolutely. I was actually, you could see the toilet in the background. I did that bathroom selfie all the teenage girls were doing. So,
And did you look up at the camera too?
yeah, with the duck lips.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you
Absolutely.
Yes.
go. That's the way
Yeah.
to do it.
Well, yeah. So,
We'll get rid of all your chins.
yeah. All of my chins. All of my, listen.
I can see where this
Brutal.
episode is going right
Brutal.
now.
Glass houses shouldn't throw stones, Kelly.
I know.
So, anyway, we had a listener come up with a question. It was posted somewhere or whatever. Somebody said, well, what if I lose my license and I apply for a new one? It costs less. And the question was about expiry date. You know, my license is going to expire in a year. I lost it. I'm going to apply for a new one. Tell them to send me a new card. I'll get it. It doesn't work like that. Your expiry date is always on your birthday. If you lose your card the week before and they send you a new card, it's still going to expire in a week. So I don't know if that ever got addressed. You guys
Right.
remember that?
I do remember that, yeah. So there's
Yeah.
no
I don't
loophole
think
there
we
then.
addressed it.
No, because your expiry date's your birthday.
That's right.
So your expiry date is not magically going to change to the date that they issue you the new license because you lost your license. They will issue you a new license with the same old expiry date, which is your birthday, every 5 years. So,
Yeah.
And then yesterday I went to the range to sight in an AR that I'm doing it again. I'm lending out a bunch of my guns this weekend for people to shoot in a 3-gun. Not a bunch, I mean, and I'm happy to do it because they're all going to people that are close friends of mine, but one of them needed to be sighted in. So I went to the range yesterday with Snuffy to sight in an AR, and I did some offhand shooting. And because of my carpal tunnel surgery in my right hand, I've been handling my guns so much with my left hand that it really didn't feel like offhand shooting. So it was kind of fun. And being left eye dominant, I can get the sights pretty quick with both eyes open when I pop the rifle up on my left shoulder. So
Well, that's cool. You are shooting
Yeah.
this weekend, right?
I am not.
Oh, you're not going to shoot. Oh, okay, because of the carpal
No.
tunnel stuff.
Yeah,
No, because of the rain.
yeah, because of the rain. Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. I'm going to retract what I said, and I'm going to say I would love to shoot, and I'm going to shoot, but you know what? Trevor needs help. And a good friend that I am, I'm going to sacrifice my match that I can keep him company in the stats shack and just kind of help him out with that paperwork because that's the kind of guy I am.
Just don't get in Alana or Chris's way because they'll be in there with me.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to even go in there probably. I'll go out there.
So, yeah. And that's pretty much it. We took a walk around to look at the stages that are left over from SummerSlam to make sure that there was nothing major that needed to be done in order to set up for the 3-gun. Now, we were going to start targeting today and then finish tomorrow, but with the monsoon rains that they're forecasting,
Oh, don't do that. No, wait.
No. yeah,
wait,
we're
yeah.
actually just going to target in the rain on Saturday morning
Yeah.
before the match commences.
And I'll bring my rain gear and I'll help you out with that, of course.
Yeah. Well, you'll help them out. I can't do nothing.
Oh,
a
you're
kid.
right. You know, my wrists are starting to hurt too. I should get some carpal tunnel syndrome.
I'm getting the stitches out tomorrow, and I can't wait because I'm ready to literally gnaw my wrist apart with my teeth. It's getting really. They've
Getting
been
itchy?
in there now.
The
They've
stitches?
been in there for 16 days.
Pull them out.
No, I
Yeah.
gotta let him do it.
Really? I pull
No,
it all my
I-
own
I-
stitches.
No, I
Yeah, me
do
too.
too. I do too when it's not deep tissue surgery. So, and what
Alright.
am I saying? I've only ever had stitches one other time, and yeah, I took them out myself. I was like
Right.
13.
So did the stitches go deep tissue, or are they just through your
Yeah.
skin like normal?
No, they're deep because
Oh,
it's all.
the stitches go all the way. Oh, well, that's weird. Okay, yeah, I'd let him do it.
Yeah, apparently it's gonna suck, but I mean, what do you mean? It's stitches. I mean, how bad could it hurt when they take them
Pain.
out?
The pain's just letting you know you're still alive.
Exactly. And mildly inconvenienced.
Yeah,
All right.
you'll be fine.
Adriel, what have you been up to?
Well, I had my 3-gun match on Saturday. That was all right.
How was the snow?
It was fine.
Yeah.
We,
How much snow did you
yeah,
have?
A pile.
Yeah.
I'd emailed
Welcome to
on
Alberta.
Friday. Yeah, I emailed on the Friday and it's like, hey guys, a little bit of snow, it does not mean that this is canceled. We're still doing this. Yeah.
Nobody got stuck in the snow? Anybody lose a mag in the snow?
No. No. One problem we've had in the past is the plates off of the Texas Star. Those get lost really easily because they're white, and sometimes like people will shoot them with a full choke and they'll launch them, 2-3 meters away, and then they're stuck in the snow somewhere. But no one lost any mags. A lot of people had to go back over the stage to find some of their mags because it was wet and snowy and whatnot.
Yep.
But it was a good day. Just 20 people out because there was snow, so a lot of our wimps didn't come out. And
see, I have no problem shooting in the snow. That would be great. It doesn't bother me a bit. I like the snow. I hate the rain.
Yeah. No, it was a good day. Let's see, how did I do? Oh, there was a couple challenging shotgun stages. I did pretty good on those. There was what was it? Like a shotgun pistol stage. I did pretty well on that one. And then there was a rifle pistol stage, and I got DQ'd because
how'd you do that?
I was shooting my AR through the VTAC, and the accuracy, so I had to burn a couple of targets before I got to the VTAC, which was like the long range shots. So my barrel was really warm, and when I started shooting in the VTAC, I was pulling the trigger with the sights aligned on the target, and I was missing to the left, to the right, high. So like when that barrel was hot, the accuracy was just right out the window, and it got me really PO'd. And when I went to dump my rifle, the barrel was turned a little bit to the side. It wasn't like turned towards me, and as I threw it in, it caught on the mag well and then fell out. Oh. The gun was empty.
Yeah, but it fell. You
still
technically
fell to the
dropped
ground.
your gun. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got DQ'd from that stage and from the match, right? Because it's not like none of my scores are going to count anymore.
No such thing as a stage DQ.
Well, they're not running IPSC, right? So they could come up with that rule if they wanted to.
That's a good point. Yeah.
No, DQ is a DQ. So, anyways, I got disqualified from there. I got all these like really decent times. I would have been in the top 5 for sure, and then I got DQ'd on this stupid rifle falling out of a barrel.
We've all been there.
Oh, I'm totally fine with it. It's fine.
Kelly.
I wasn't.
Kelly hasn't DQ'd yet.
Well, that's because Kelly doesn't shoot that way.
There you go.
Like us,
There
cool
you go.
guys.
Soon. It's only a matter
Kelly,
of
you're not
time.
cool. You hear that?
I heard.
Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah.
If you're a social justice warrior, now you're an uncool social justice warrior.
Exactly.
You can't win today.
No.
Sorry. Adriel, what we say is there are 2 types of shooters. Those that have been DQ'd and those that will be DQ'd. So everybody gets one.
No. I don't mind it that much because it was like fully under my control. Like I could have carefully placed that rifle in that barrel instead of chucking it, but I threw it in there and it bounced out. That's all me.
I could just picture. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to tell about the time that Bolivar came down. I think it was our second or third. Owen was there. Maybe it was our second year. It was the one with the jail stage after the National, so it was 2013. So it was our second year because our first multi-gun at my club was in 2012.
Oh, yes,
Matthew,
I remember the story. Yeah.
I'm our Owen Matthew, and he literally, he doesn't even approach the barrel. He throws the shotgun in the barrel, and I'm watching the shotgun in mid-air come so close to breaking 90. I'm like, oh my God, he almost broke 90 by throwing his shotgun.
But I didn't break 90, and it went in the barrel.
Yes.
Those javelin lessons came in real handy. I didn't have to go all the way over to the barrel. I just chucked the shotgun in and drew and kept going. I had a good time on that stage, if I remember right.
Yeah, everything was great, but man, you see the video. Go to his YouTube channel and look up the 2013 multi-gun and the one with Bolivar in it. That'll tell you that you got the right one. And watch my face as he throws his shotgun. That, kids, if you look up disgusted in Webster's dictionary, you'll see that look.
Yeah, so the thing I'd like to rectify is, I'll rectify my throwing ARs. Not getting DQ'd. I'll work on that. But the one thing that I think can be improved, and all it does is cost money, is the stringing on that rifle. So it's got a government profile barrel on it. I think it's Spikes Tactical. It's a Spikes Tactical, just like a standard mil-spec 16-inch barrel. So it's got like the little step down for the M203 grenade launcher. It's got like the cutouts for an iron front sight. It's got like if you look at a government profile barrel, they've got like ups and downs like all over the place. It's not like a sporting rifle barrel where it's a nice smooth transition.
Well, you never know when you need to put one of those grenade launchers on your rifle for 3-gun.
Yeah, exactly.
Texas Star? What Texas Star? It gone.
But isn't it funny, Adriel, that the government profile barrel is the one that the government uses, and it's supposed to be used in combat, and once it heats up, it just totally loses its accuracy. So you've got to go from a barrel that's supposed to be intended for service to a heavy barrel so that you don't lose accuracy in a match.
Well, and it depends on the barrel too. Like some people's barrels do really well when they get hot. They only go to like 4 MOA kind of a thing if they start getting roasting. But this one in particular, it just seems like if it gets hot, accuracy goes out the window. So this is the one I'm replacing it with is a Rainier Arms match barrel. So it's a like a bead blasted stainless guy. 16 inches still because I like that length. It gives me a little bit of room out the front of my forend to kind of poke through a barricade or something like that. It uses an SPR profile, so instead of those ups and downs like the government model, it's got more of like a straight and fewer steps down. It only really steps down. It doesn't step up and down and all over the place like the other
tapered.
style.
It's tapered.
The taper's nice, and it's a nicer taper too, in my opinion. 1 in 8 twist, which is enough for me. I don't really shoot a lot of like heavy bullets just yet. A mid-length gas system. So my old barrel was a carbine length gas system on a 16-inch barrel, which is not really ideal. And that's one of the reasons why they came out with the mid-length gas system was to work with those barrel lengths a little bit better. So I'm going for that. And it uses a 223 wild chamber, which is kind of like a compromised chamber that lets you shoot 223 and 5.56 spec ammo safely in a chamber. You can do that with a 5.56 chamber, but apparently this 223 wild handles 223 ammo better and will shoot it like more accurately than the 5.56. Again, your mileage may vary depending on your rifle and your barrel and all that kind of thing, right? So long story short, a match barrel for my AR so that it'll be more accurate and hopefully it won't string so bad when it gets piping hot. Like keep in mind, like that's like it starts stringing after like 30 rounds, like real quick. So it's starting to get pretty warm after that, and I don't want it to. I want it to keep shooting accurately. And,
just to let you know, my Stag barrel, my STI AR, my 3-gun AR has a barrel off of a Stag 3G. It's their factory 3-gun rifle. Mm-hmm. And it's also a 1 in 8, mm-hmm. and it will shoot 55 grain very accurately. So just because you got a 1 in 8, you're probably still going to be super accurate with 55 grain bullets. You're not going to have to go out and start trying to find match grade 69 or 77 or anything like that, or even 62.
Well, this other barrel, the one that I'm taking off, is a 1 in 7 twist, so it's even a tighter twist. Now, I've heard conflicting reports on whether there is such a thing as too much twist in an AR barrel. So, like whether a 1 in 7 is a bad idea to shoot 55 grain ammo through. It's a lot more twist than you need to effectively stabilize that bullet. So, like in my opinion, I don't know. I mean, it's tomatoes and potatoes here because we've got a match barrel and then we've got like a rack grade government barrel. So, if this new one's more accurate and I expect it to be, it's hard to put that down to twist or anything, right?
I've heard that having too quick a twist rate is bad. I've heard that it will overstabilize, and by overstabilize, destabilize. But like you say, I get conflicting info on that too. So who knows if that's true or not?
My NEA is a 1 in 7, and it's a 14.5-inch barrel, and I put my loopholed AR scope on there, and I can shoot an inch with 55 grain bullets at 100.
Oh well, there you go. So I guess that yeah.
And that was after I heated it up so much that it actually turned blue. So I was worried that maybe I burnt it. So when I contacted NEA, they laughed at me. They were like, "Oh, you turned it blue. Oh, poor you." Anyway, so I thought, well, I better check the accuracy, and so I threw the scope on, and yeah, I was still getting an inch. I couldn't believe how accurate it was. So heating it up had zero effect on its accuracy. And then I was just impressed with the 1 in 7. shooting 55 grain bullets that accurately.
Anyway, so I'll swap that barrel out on Saturday here. Also at the same time, so I got that from CTC Supplies, and then I also they've got Primary Arms, which is like a budget optic that's somewhat popular in the States, and I got their 1:6 ACSS, which I mean the glass and the scope itself is nothing special. The reticle on it is really cool. It's got a lot of like really practical ranging hashes on there, and so if I'm not going to take too much time here and describe it, but if you want to check it out, the Primary Arms ACSS, and I guess I'll mount that this weekend as well. And then right after the show here, a friend of a friend is getting out of pistol shooting, and they've got 6 pistols, so my buddy and I are going to head over there and buy all his pistols because he's selling them for really good prices. So we're gonna buy everything. So
Nice.
Next week I'm gonna have like I don't know if we'll get the transfer and everything done by next week, but
Next week you'll be Trevor.
That's
we'll
what I was going to say.
I'll go from 1 pistol in my house to 7.
Oh, you got to get to 10 to beat me, buddy, or 11. I'm at 10 now.
It
Everything
goes
is
all the way up to
Always a
11.
competition.
Thank you, Kelly. I was just gonna say everything is a contest. I'm also up to 3 ARs. So
What's your total firearms count?
I think it's 27.
Oh man,
Darcy,
you got me
if you're
beat.
listening,
You got me
just
beat hands down.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyways, that's what I was up to. Kelly, what about you?
well, for the second time in a row, or second week in a row, didn't go to the range. No range time. So,
But you've still been very busy doing other stuff, though.
yeah, that's true, but no range time. I bet Sunday went to the Lyndhurst Gun Show and did some stuff for the CCFR. We were out talking to people on that, trying to get people to sign up for, advocacy groups, and because that's important. And working on the calendar as well, and doing some other things for the CCFR. So apparently I'm no longer allowed to shoot, like you guys say. I'm not a shooter anymore.
Oh, we never said not anymore. We said you never were.
Oh, thanks. So apparently I'm not a shooter, but I'll go out there and tell people to go and join the groups.
You mentioned something last week that I wanted you to elaborate on, and we didn't come back to it. And we were joking about sighting in shotguns, and you said in passing that you've tried to sight in your which one do you have again?
BR99.
BR99. So, all right. Yeah. So what's going on? Why won't it sight in? What is it?
So it does have those shims that we were talking about, or Adriel, you were talking about them?
Really?
Shims for the length of pull or for the comb?
No, shims for the. So it has almost like tech sights. They're not really tech sights. Anyways, so you can dial them in, but yeah, we dialed it in a little bit.
You're not using like a red dot or something like that?
Nope.
Oh, why not? That thing's begging for a red dot.
Oh, I know. Just haven't bought one for it.
Huh. Hey, I found something interesting out about those style shotguns on Saturday. So I brought out that MKA 1919, and someone else had a Duria, and someone else had a BR 99.
You stripped them apart, and they all had the same internals.
Yes.
The magazines are all different on all of them.
Uh-oh.
That's irritating.
So they're all just a little bit different. So we tried one in another one, and it got jammed in there pretty good. And they're all just a little bit different dimensions. So I've been going off the assumption that these things were all the same operating mechanism. They all use the same mags. And it seems like there's a little bit of, at least in the magazines, there's a little bit of difference between them. On the Duria, it's got like a quick disassembly. And the MKA doesn't have that, and neither does the BR 99. And there's more differences. So although they use the same platform, I guess there's differences in all the other stuff. And the reliability was not as good as your Stogers and that kind of thing. My Stoger 3500 was just rock solid.
Yeah.
How's the reliability been on this 1919 thing?
I shot like 5 times before the match, and it jammed once, so I threw it to the side and I didn't use it for the match. But this Saturday I've got a whole whole big box of ammo that I'm going to run through it just to beat it in a little bit. Maybe I'll get some 3-inch magnums and run those.
There we go again. 3-inch magnums. Listeners, we do that on purpose because it pisses you off. I just want you to know it's our way of being passive aggressive. So,
how new is it? Sorry,
brand new.
Brand new. So yeah, it needs to be worked in a little bit, right?
What about yours, Kelly? Did yours need to be worked in?
Yeah, we had to put through 100 rounds.
You put 100 rounds of 3-inch Magnum, and then it was. After that, it ran 2 3/4, no problem.
Yeah, 2 3/4, no problem. Target load, it's good. Good to go.
Okay, right. No feeding, no more feeding issues or ejections or nothing. It just runs.
It's smooth. Yeah.
Okay, so was there actually an issue setting it in? Was it like poor design, or it doesn't work, or what's up?
So it does have those. It has shims. And you just dial it a little bit, and
I can't picture what you're talking. It has shims. What has shims? The front sight, the rear sight?
Rear sight.
Rear sight.
So yeah, you can dial it a little bit and adjust it. They're kind of like tech sights, but they're not really. You can flip them up. Anyways, so you can dial it in a little bit. We tried dialing it in, and it's still not perfect. So you're right, Adriel. You should put a red dot on it.
Well, they're simple. It's not that much more simple, but they're quicker to use, definitely.
Yep. So, but I don't have one. Haven't bought one for it. I need a red dot for my AR first. Just saying.
One of my buddies got the Spark AR. Well, I think we were talking about that on the show there, and I finally got to shoot it at that 3-gun match here, and it is simple. It's really tight to the rifle.
Good.
The battery and all the buttons and all that kind of stuff are underneath. Whereas on like the Spark version 1, which I've got, the buttons are on the side and it kind of makes it a little bit more bulky. This is like a really nice tight fit to the rifle. So that's an option.
Yeah, it is. Okay. So that's what I did. Do you guys want to go on to events?
I guess. Whatever. Alright, so what do we got for upcoming events? The Ferlacci Handgun Course, July 15th and 16th in Alberta. It's full. So, what are you going to do? We got a waiting list for both days now, so if you'd like to get on the waiting list, you certainly can. If anybody drops out, we'll let you know, and you can have a shot at getting on there. The 17th Annual Hunter Sight-In and Swap Meet is October 22nd. That will be taking place at the Frontenac Rifle and Pistol Club in Kingston, Ontario, so you can bring surplus gear to trade or barter. And the Canadian Patriot Podcast and the International Liberty or Death Podcast are hosting a charity shoot at the Guelph Rod and Gun Club on November 5th.
I'd like to talk about that one a little bit, Matthew. If the listeners are interested in this, they should go to the Canadian Patriot Podcast Facebook page. They've created an events page for this. And I suggest that you listen to the most recent episode of the International Liberty or Death podcast. This is someone who is connected intimately to one of the hosts of these two shows. So it's hitting really, really close to home for one of these guys. And if you can't go to the charity event, I would suggest going over to the GoFundMe page. And if you can afford it, flip them the match fee. That's what I did. A couple of bucks more, but go, this is somebody that's part of our community and being affected by this. And the story can be heard on the International Liberty or Death podcast, last week's episode. And if you can, head on over. If you can't attend, at least please, if you can, go over to the GoFundMe page and try and help out.
Very good. Thank you for that. So the news, we don't want to hype things up more than they really are, but somebody got shot in the face.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
With a bullet.
CBC, he survived a shot to the face. You know what? Because being injured by an out-of-battery discharge just doesn't sound quite as
not nearly as headline-grabbing as man survives shot to the face.
Idiots.
That just irritates me. I think the story is more that CBC is selling papers more than reporting the news than the story. Because the story, while interesting, it's not really overly abnormal. Guns fire out of battery on a semi-regular basis. It's dangerous, and you got to be careful. Yeah, it's a good lesson to be careful, but I don't think it's national newsworthy.
Did I talk about what happened to the president of Ex-Metal Targets?
Not on the show,
On the
I don't
show?
think.
No? Yeah.
I don't know if you were... Did you talk about it on the show? I don't remember.
I
No.
don't think so.
No?
Listen,
Okay.
well, while we were at the IPSC New Brunswick Provincials, Etienne Cote was on the range, and I don't know who owned it, but there was a DA-50. That's the Dominion Arms 50 caliber, 50 BMG upper that goes on your AR-15. Well, something happened. There was a catastrophic failure, a serious malfunction of some kind that, to me, was an out-of-battery detonation. They found the case head, and the primer was clearly struck. So the round, a 50 BMG, went off before it was in battery, and it shredded his arm like 35%.
So he survived a shot from a 50 BMG is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right.
So
yeah.
Etienne got shot with a 50 BMG and he survived it.
And he survived. Yeah, 35% damage to his right arm. His left hand was mangled. He was literally hospitalized for a month. They took nerves out of his legs to repair the nerve damage in his arm.
That's basically a little pipe bomb going off right next to you is what
Right
that
next.
is.
That's right. Yeah.
That's freaking devastating, man. That's terrible.
So for that to have done that much damage, he must have had that cartridge like in the chamber,
Almost
but the lugs on the bolt not locked in, because if it blows up outside of the gun, and if it's just the cartridge, there's not going to be a lot of that. Like this guy here got a pretty good gouge near his eye. He could have lost an eye, but he just caught case. He just caught the case, right?
Case
Whereas it
fragments.
sounds like Etienne here, the cartridge was probably in the chamber for it to pass that much energy to the bolt and then rip the bolt back and hit him, right?
Yeah, I mean, just destroyed the upper. It's like in pieces.
That's crazy.
And, well, destroyed the lower as well. Yeah.
And
A lot
destroyed
of
his arm.
things. And destroyed his arm, yeah.
Yeesh. Yeah, no, you got to be careful with stuff like that. I mean, you can't fault the guy. It's, I'm sure he didn't do anything wrong. It's just,
His advice is if anyone sees a DA-50 on the range, you are to get in your car and leave.
Yeah, he doesn't like the way it's set up, eh?
Don't be anywhere near it. Well, I mean, okay, it's nice for Dominion Arms to be making, and Norinco to be making AR-15s and 1911s, but unless you're really on your game, you probably shouldn't be messing with rifles chambered in such powerful rounds as the 50.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
Yeah. Well,
All
as
right.
it pertains to the CBC article, actually, I did a call with the reporter on this, and I tried to fix
It's all your
the issues. No, this is they had an initial version of the article up, and I'm like, he didn't actually catch the bullet in the face, and like, no, the bullet was in the gun and it exploded. I'm like, no, that's the cartridge. So like the bullet is the heavy lead thing at the end. That's probably like somewhere in his barrel, like just in the front there. But he probably caught a case, and they didn't fix anything.
No, of course not. They don't know. They couldn't understand what you were saying anyway.
if you could have made it sound more sensational, they would have printed what you said.
Yeah.
But you were trying to sound realistic and authentic.
Well, they don't want that because they
No.
want to sell.
Yep.
They need
As-
those clicks.
Yeah, the media they have no integrity.
No.
Anyways, that was that.
Cool. All right, this next one is about Bill C-230. Who's got information on that?
Well, I posted this one in here. This was the bill to define what a variant meant, because in our criminal code, a lot of the stuff around a lot of our firearms laws use these ambiguous terms that don't really have like a proper definition. They were trying to define variant. Long story short, the Conservatives voted for it. No one else did, and it failed. So it's not going to continue further than this. Now, one thing that I heard was that the language in this bill wasn't that fantastic. So it might be a blessing in disguise that it didn't get passed. But I haven't read the bill myself, and so I don't have any opinion on this.
Alrighty then. Well, I mean, I didn't read it either. This is the first I've heard of it, actually, so... It would be nice to get variant defined, but it would be nice if we got defined with some logic and done properly.
Yeah, and, I think the... it would be nice if the Blaze 47 wasn't prohibited as a variant of the AK-47.
Yeah.
But
because that's not a variant. It really isn't. It just looks like it.
Nope. Yeah, so exactly.
They need to define that for sure. Just done right.
That may be what have spurred this on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what the conservatives talked about, was the fact that it was, the Blaze 47 is a 22 and it's not an AK-47. Yep. You can't swap parts of the AK-47 onto this plastic 22. It didn't go through.
Yeah, it didn't get passed after the second reading.
Oh well. All right. Well, thanks for that update, Adriel. And I guess that rolls us right into our main topic.
Yeah, so this is kind of the idea, or what I wanted to do is just do a lightning round of questions around hunting that are kind of controversial, but knowing you guys, I think some of these are going to be pretty one-sided. But just to start off with, and I'll just throw these out there, and if you've got an opinion on it, just start talking. Detachable magazine versus hinged floor plate.
Detachable magazine.
All the way.
Hinged floor plates are dumb.
Too slow to load.
Too slow to load, and you have to actually take your ammo off the hinged floor plate. You can't just open it up and throw it in your truck and move on. You have to actually take it like a detached mag. Just pull it out of your rifle and and jack the one round out of the chamber, and you're empty. Like it's just Also,
Kelly, do you have an opinion on this?
Do I have an opinion? Yeah. Hey, you know what? I don't shoot.
Yeah, you do.
You're
You
still
just
allowed
don't
to be
shoot
wrong,
competition.
Yeah. Hey. Anyways, yeah, detachable magazine is easier.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm detachable magazine as well. I mean, especially here in Alberta, if you're going to cross a highway or something like that, you're going to have to be unloaded. Hey, so do you want to walk around with a handful of 5 rounds, or do you want to just pop your mag out and you rack the action like Matthew was mentioning there?
That's normal though, right? That most people in most provinces, you have to have an empty gun to cross the street.
Yeah.
Because I think it's the same way in Ontario. I don't think you can. At least I know you can't hunt from the road.
why did the chicken cross the road? So he can load his gun.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think Trevor and I, we're really lucky in New Brunswick where we can hunt from the road if we want to. The road is part of outdoors. So they don't make us unload our gun to cross the street, and we don't have to step 7 meters off the side of the road in order to pull the trigger. We can shoot anything from anywhere as long as we look both ways first, I guess.
Do you have to unload your gun if you get into a quad?
Yes. Any motorized vehicle, you have to have an unloaded vehicle or unloaded gun.
Yeah, so there again, that's
on a gun range, some people will tell you.
But yeah, you're right, Adriel. Even there, it's nice to have the detached mag because you can just take the mag out and you're good to go.
Now the argument that I've heard for
hinged floor plates,
yes, is that you could drop your mag while in the field.
You're right. You certainly could. You could also drop your rifle or your cell phone or your GPS or your compass or your hat, or you could drop anything out there.
Well, let's think about all the modern military rifles where they're used, the field, and all of their mags are meant to be detachable, so that argument doesn't hold water with me.
No. Especially since most mags have holes in the bottom to let the water drain out.
Well, you could put a little loop on there and tie up a lanyard to your magazine and just rope it to your gun. You'll never lose it.
Dope
if
on a
you're
rope.
A forgetful person, good to go. All right, next one here. This is for shotguns. Sabo
12 gauge.
Or... Yes, of course, 12 gauge. But Sabo or Forster-style slugs?
I think it's Foster, isn't it?
Foster?
I think it's
Foster.
Yeah.
Foster-style slugs.
I think. I'm not a scientist, but I think. I prefer Foster, personally,
Let's define them. Let's define them first for people that don't know, maybe, because they're not a lot. They're terms that don't get thrown around a lot.
All right.
Foster versus Sabo, which is which?
Okay, well, the Sabo slug has a plastic or similar encapsulation around the projectile in order to seal it in the chamber, where a Foster style is just a big lead chunk that just goes tearing down the barrel.
Yeah, so your Foster slug looks like a regular shotgun shell until you look at the end and see this big 1 ounce chunk of lead. And a sabot, as you said, it looks like an actual bullet wrapped in plastic.
Yep.
Now, I've been told that sabot slugs only work in rifled barrels.
That's where I was going to go with this. Yeah, if you have a rifled shotgun barrel, then yeah, sabot slug for sure. But if I prefer Foster because I don't have rifled shotgun barrels, and the Foster slug can be used in both rifled and smoothbore, and they're still fairly accurate in a smoothbore. So that's what I go with.
Next question then, Matthew. What if you owned a rifle or shotgun with a rifled barrel? Which would you use?
If I owned a shotgun with a rifled barrel, I would probably use the sabot slugs.
Right. Okay. Then you would go to the sabot, and that's because of the technology of the projectile. It actually is built with a.
Well, the projectile is a lot lighter than the 1 ounce chunk of lead, right? And so you get much higher velocities, and you get a stabilized projectile because your barrel's rifled, and so it's spinning. So
and as opposed to just a chunk of lead, it actually is constructed like a...
It's a jacketed hollow point, jacketed polymer tip. However, there's all kinds of different designs out there.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Better technology.
Yeah, you can basically get rifle accuracy, well, very close to rifle accuracy and rifle velocity out of a shotgun. And they came up with this because some provinces have shotgun-only hunting. Yep. And you can get this ammo and get a rifled shotgun barrel and be legal while using centerfire rifle velocities and accuracies. So it's kind of cheating the system, but it's
big
legal,
time.
so off you go. Doesn't bother me none.
Guys are putting scopes on their 12 gauges and shooting sabots.
Well, as I understand it, the logic behind that was they didn't want high-powered rifles out in densely populated areas. Mm-hmm. But what they failed to realize is that a 1 ounce chunk of lead flying at 1,200 feet per second goes through more things than a half-ounce chunk of lead at 3,000 feet per second because it's going to vaporize if it hits something, whereas the 1 ounce chunk of lead going much slower is just going to punch through it and keep on going. So they thought they were making it safer, but in reality they didn't.
See, Adriel, it is the 9 versus 45 debate.
All over again.
It applies in hunting. Yeah, and I think it's another one of those examples, Matthew, maybe where the legislators aren't hunters.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think that people should be making laws if they don't know what they're talking about, but that would basically mean no laws.
Yeah. Anarchy! What's next, Adriel?
Next. Lever action 3030s, totally useless or just mostly useless?
Not,
just mostly useless. I don't hate them.
No, they have a place.
That's right, just mostly useless.
Hunt the 3030? These days.
I'm actively seeking a pre-64 Winchester Model 94 pre-64 model, so that, because it's a better quality, and I don't really care about the condition. I want the better gun, but it'd totally be a trunk gun. I don't care if it gets scratched or dinged or whatever, because it's a perfect bush rifle. Like inside, iron sights inside 100, no problem for a whitetail. To me, you know what I want to use it for? I want to hunt from a tree stand with a 30-30 using iron sights to shoot a deer or a bear.
That'd be cool. From horseback would be, the ultimate cowboy fantasy, though.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have cowboy fantasies, so
I regretted saying those words as soon as they left my mouth. However, it's too late. It's out there.
Matthew has ultimate cowboy fantasies, and they don't
all
involve
of the fantasies deal with guns, though, so it's okay.
They don't involve a football team from Dallas.
They do not.
I hope not, because if you're having ultimate Dallas Cowboys fantasies. Anyway, yes. So
I don't look. Here's the thing: the 30-30 is outdated. It's not modern tech. There are better cartridges, but it'll still kill a deer.
Yeah,
everything will kill a deer. Let's say that. I mean, if we're gonna limit it to taking shots from a tree stand, any firearm that center fire is probably going to do it.
Sure.
Yeah, but it's so short and compact and fast because it's a lever action. I mean, it's just. You're right.
There's that nostalgic factor to it too, right? Yeah. And so sometimes it's fun to hunt with the old cowboy gun.
And Adriel, I'm looking on my computer right now for a photo that I'll send you after the show of a group I shot with my 30-30 off sandbags at 100. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
I couldn't get really good accuracy. So I've hunted with 30-30s. I really like carrying them. The carryability of just grabbing it around the receiver there and walking with it is so good.
Yes, it is.
the 30-30 I hunted with had the buckhorn sights, and they're
That's what I have.
I hate them so much. I hate the buckhorn sights. It's like they're solving a problem that wasn't a problem. Just give me some give me a blade and a regular
blade and a notch. It's all I need. It's all I ask for. Yeah.
It's mine also has the front
hood.
Yeah, the front hood, but I take that off because it just not enough light.
You're right. Yep.
All right. I'll jump to the next topic here then. Copper bullets versus cup and core. So cup and core is like a regular lead and jacket bullet. Copper bullets would be like your TSXs, and I suppose there's an in between here with the chemically fused bullets that have the lead that's fused to the jacket.
I'm not as paranoid as some people are about eating lead, mostly because I licked the walls as a child, and I'm sure I got all kinds of lead paint poisoning, but whatever. But that being said, there is a certain appeal to hunting with an all-copper bullet, knowing that there's no lead contamination in your food at all.
Yeah, like you said, if that matters to you.
If that matters to you. But I think that's the only reason. Otherwise, the lead is the better option because you're going to get better terminal ballistics.
Yeah, I like the terminal ballistics of lead. I mean, it mushrooms at a lower velocity generally, depending on the jacket design and whatnot. But it's usually got a bigger area of terminal ballistics, and they're cheaper. They're accurate. There's no special magic loadout you have to do. Like when you're reloading, you don't have to use some different powders or different powder amounts. All the lead ones are all the lead ones. They're all the same.
I understand the all copper argument. I do, but I don't have a problem with just cutting out, that chunk of flesh that the bullet tore into and just throwing it away, and then you don't have to worry about the lead poisoning at all because it's all gone.
Yeah. Now I think that the one exception I'd give is if you're going to go with like a ridiculous magnum and blast something that at like really close.
Well, if you're going to do that, you're probably varmint hunting, and who cares?
No, like let's say you did something real silly, like shot a deer at 80 yards with a 300 Win Mag in like a 150 grain bullet. Like that would be silly, right?
It was 88 yards.
Trevor and I were talking about that just before the show today.
Yep.
Well, that's a special example. So I mean, if I was shooting a 300 Win Mag at deer and I wanted to use like a light fast bullet, so I got that really flat trajectory, I'd probably go copper on that because you're going to be slamming them at some really high speeds.
Yep, there's that. My preferred method though is just shoot them in the head. Don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, headshots.
That's coming up.
Don't have to worry about headshots with lead or lead poisoning with headshots, unless you want to eat the brain, of course. But that's just weird.
Or you have to turn it in. We have to turn in the deer heads in.
You have to turn in your heads.
Yep.
Why?
Weird.
To prove
because they're watching for chronic wasting disease, and they want to track how far it's going.
Gotcha.
So they need to.
So you gotta hack off the head and bring it into the station. Do you like put it in their bed?
They've got that would be funny. Bring it down to the university and be like, here's a deer head. So it's even weirder than that. You have to. There's these freezers around in these small towns, and you put all this information on a piece of paper.
Mommy, can I get a Coke? Sure, son. There's a fridge right over there.
It's a freezer full of deer heads.
Traumatized for life.
Yeah, but so I mean, I guess you couldn't shoot him in the head if you were going to do that, but yeah, no, I like cup and core. I like the fused bullets as well. So your AccuBonds and your Federal Fusion and that kind of thing.
Well, it just basically it does the same thing, right? All the lead just gets stuck to the jacket, so it doesn't just spread out all over the place.
It'll still come off. It'll still get wiped off if you push them really fast. But they do a better job of holding onto the lead. Like if you shoot a cup and core at a deer, what you'll find at the under the skin, if you find your bullet, is you might find the bottom bit of the cup full of lead, and then top bit of the jacket just kind of like bare, and like there won't be lead on it.
So all that lead stripped off.
Yeah, you lose a lot of weight. So I mean, the bonded ones do a better job of holding onto onto their lead. They'll penetrate a little bit better, and they're still pretty cheap. So they're not like an expensive one like the copper bullets, right?
Right.
Moving on.
All right.
Three 300 Win Mag, best cartridge ever. So why do you need anything else?
You really don't. 300 Win Mag, that's what you need for the smallest of deers. Prairie dogs is great for them. Groundhogs, crows, sparrows, squirrels. 300. You basically have to have a 300 Win Mag, or else you can't kill anything. You have to. It's basically it. That's the only thing available.
So here's my opinion. 300 Win Mag is going to kill everything in North America, but potentially so could a 308 if you're loading correctly or buying the right ammo.
And if you shoot it in the right spot.
Right. So shot placement matters. The thing about a 300 Win Mag is some people are recoil sensitive, and even though you're only taking one, maybe two shots in the field, it's in their head, and they're going to flinch before, and so it just... one, it's overkill in some cases. Two, it's too much recoil for some people. I mean, my problems with the Win Mag aren't anywhere near what my problems are with the short mags, like the 270 short mag, the 300 short mag, even the 223 short mag. Like, those things are just an abortion of a cartridge. Like, they'd never needed to be created.
No.
They don't do anything that other rounds won't do. And there's nothing that I can kill with a 300 Win Mag that I can't kill with my 30-06. And I bought my 30-06 because it'll kill everything in North America, and it'll do it with less recoil and less of a hole in my wallet.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah.
I mean, you're talking well over $80 a box for a box of 300 Win Mag.
Wow.
That's disgusting.
You can get it cheaper, or you can reload, and you can do 300 Win Mag pretty cheap if you reload.
Well, you get 100 rounds for an $80 box, right?
Nope. So, I can buy premium 30-06 for under $50.
Yeah, premium Magnum loadings are usually I think the bullet manufacturers and the ammunition manufacturers are making a higher profit margin on those.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
So, it'll kill everything, but there are other things that'll kill things just as dead for less money and less recoil.
Well, and I think a lot of new hunters are attracted to the 300 Win Mag because it's got a lot of flexibility. You can shoot like an elk or a moose at 400 yards, and it'll have the power to do that.
Yep.
But that's like, for that flexibility, you're paying a price, and the price is recoil that's over the limit of what most people can take and not develop a flinch. So. I think it's just on that basis alone, I think it's better to go with a more reasonable cartridge that will still do the job. Like a 30-06 or a 270 is fine, or 308, whatever. And it won't. It's not as likely to give you that flinch as a 300 Win Mag is. A lot of guys around here, especially in Alberta here, they all go 300 Win Mag because it's the best and it's the most flexible and whatnot. And then you see them shoot at the range just before November, and they've got terrible flinches, and they can't get good groups, and they're like, "This gun's no any good." It's like, no, the gun's fine. It's
gun's
you.
fine. Yeah, exactly.
And the ammo that's causing you to flinch.
A lot of people love it around here too, Adriel, and they claim because of the killing power, and they never have to track their moose, or they never have to track their, they're compensating for shot placement, right?
But it doesn't make a difference. Like, if you shoot something in a bad spot with a 300 Win Mag, that deer is gone. And if you shoot it in a good place, they're going to drop with a 300 Win Mag or drop with a 308. Like,
I've got it.
I see no difference in that bang flop. It happens about 50% of the time when you shoot a deer. It'll just, like, 50% of the time, if you get it in the right spot, it'll just like keel over and die.
Yep.
The power you put behind it makes no difference. I shot a deer with a 338 Lapua. And hit it in the same spot as every other deer out there, heart and lungs, and it still trucked for 40 yards before it keeled over, and that's a big bad round, right?
Yeah, it is.
No, I said that's the reason. I didn't say they were correct.
Yeah.
So that deer that I shot with the 300 Win Mag, it the listeners that have been listening forever have heard this story many times by now, so I apologize, but it knocked it right off its feet. All 4 feet were up in the air kicking. It landed on its back, like it just cleaned it, knocked it right off its feet. It got up and ran 15 yards and then died. And there were 5 ribs broken right across the top, up at the top of the rib cage close to the spine. So it was like it got hit by a truck. And still, it got up. Like, when I thought of this thing, literally get knocked off its feet from the energy of the impact, I thought, oh yeah, we don't have to track that thing an inch. And then it got up and ran. I was like, how is this possible? I was just, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. How is this possible? And, but yeah, it only went 15 yards. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's good. It definitely had the power it needed, but it doesn't, that's, too much power is the right amount of power, but it doesn't have to be that much.
That's right. And I mean, but you shoot a deer with a 300 Win Mag and you're going to blow the leg off and you're going to have a football-sized hole.
No, that's not going to happen.
Doesn't happen. My deer didn't even have an exit wound. We found the round in the hide on the other side.
No, I mean, if you've seen the people who hunt deer with like a 50 BMG, even that doesn't blow a football-sized hole out in the other side or anything. It punches a hole. It's bigger than a regular rifle round will be, but it's not huge. It's not fist-sized or anything like that.
Yeah, it's not like you're hitting it with a tank grenade or anything.
No.
Yeah, people over imagine how powerful guns really are. I remember funny side note. There's a new range has been put up in Florenceville. Trevor knows it. He's been there. And you can see it from the road. And a person was talking to me, and I'll leave the person's name out of it just for the sake of embarrassing them. Don't want to embarrass them. And they're like, those berms are pretty close to the road. Can a bullet go through one of those berms? Like, isn't that dangerous? No, wow. Bullets don't go through berms. They can't go any more than an inch into the dirt before they stop. But
maybe an AK-47 would go through.
Well, an AK-47 with a banana clip will basically cut them in half. But other than that,
yeah.
But no. People overestimate how powerful guns really are, and I think that's due largely in part to watching movies.
Hollywood, yep. Now, that being said, if you had told me that shooting a snowshoe hare with a 17 HMR was going to completely destroy the ribcage on the opposite side, I would have went, nah, can't be that bad. Oh, it's that bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a pretty small animal too, right?
It's what you would imagine should happen to a deer when a deer is hit with a 50 BMG.
Right.
Only it doesn't happen to a deer when you hit a deer with a 50 BMG.
The scale doesn't go up the same way.
No, it doesn't. But if you're looking if you're looking for colossal damage on an animal with a round, go shoot some jackrabbits or some snowshoe hares with a 17 HMR inside of 50 meters, and if you're after carnage, you will be happy.
That being said,
17 Hornet.
Or 17 Hornet, but that being said, snowshoe hares are particularly fragile because I've done the same thing with a 22. 75-yard shot, and I hit it with a 22, and I walked up to it, and I was gobsmacked that the other side of it was laid open and guts were everywhere.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So they're just a very fragile animal. There's just not much to them.
I just smelled it. I could smell the. Sometimes a memory will mess with you.
Yeah.
I could just smell the rabbit just now.
They don't actually smell all that bad on the inside.
Well, I mean, it's not like a tom-tom, but when the guts are on the outside, it's yeah.
Anyhow,
that is great. Worse on the outside.
Yeah.
Talking about exploding animals, do you guys reload your hunting ammo, and what kind of bullets do you use if you do?
I use grenades, tank grenades, basically. That's why all my animals blow up and mince meat right away.
I don't know about Kelly. You're not into reloading yet, are you?
Nope.
No. Are you not exactly into hunting yet? Are you?
Nope.
No. Okay.
You're really contributing a lot to this conversation so far, aren't you?
Yeah, I've been talking to Stacy.
Oh, there you go. All right,
Stacy. Sorry to interrupt you. You just keep going.
You guys carry on. I'm listening. Go ahead.
I want to speak for Matthew, so I will. I'm not even going to say. Well, not that I don't want to speak for Matthew, but Matthew, you load 223, right?
Yes.
And so, have you killed anything with your 223 loads yet?
Of course.
Okay.
I shot a crow out of a tree at 250 yards with my Axis.
Nice. With one of your hand loads?
With one of my hand loads.
Fantastic. So I'm loading Adriel 30-06 and 223. And out of my 223, the most accurate bullet I found is anything between a 40 and a 45, screaming fast. Like I used to put in 27.5 grains of Varget, which was the max charge. I thought a 50. Anyway, I'm still developing a load for both, basically. Hornady bullets, Nosler bullets. I've got some 165 grain AMAX that I'm going to roll up some 30-06 test loads for. I'm using all my precision reloading equipment right now to make match grade hunting ammo.
I like how you still
For my
haven't figured out
30-06.
all your loads yet. I started reloading 223 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years
Yeah.
ago, and within a week I had developed my load, and I haven't changed it since, and I still get sub MOA accuracy
right,
out
but
of
it's
my
not
axis.
but it's not a target rifle. You should be chronographing that and seeing what your velocity is, and then deciding if you want to lose some accuracy and gain some kill power.
Sure, I guess, but I still think it's fine.
Right.
According, I haven't chronographed it, but according to the charts, I'm getting the velocities that I need.
Yeah. No, you're right. I'm never satisfied with the group that I'm getting out of that 223 rifle.
Well,
So-
I don't think I think that's your rifle, honestly. We've talked about this before, but I don't think you get, I don't know. I know you paid a lot for it. I know it's a good rifle and other people get good results, but you just aren't getting good results. I think you need to get a different gun.
Well, yes and no. I get acceptable MOA accuracy and even sub-MOA accuracy on occasion at 200 with Winchester White Box, 45 grain jacketed hollow point. But I want to improve on that, so I've been trying to load my own. The problem is I have a 1 in 12 twist barrel on that rifle, so it won't drive a heavy bullet. So
No,
I'm
you
I'm
gotta
down
shoot light.
Yeah, so I'm shooting 40 and 45 grain bullets, even 50 grain bullets it doesn't like. So, and the other thing is I don't have time. I'll go to the range once or twice a year, shoot a couple of groups, and then not go back.
Right.
And I do too much. I'm trying to work on
Yeah.
a target rifle, and now I'm trying to develop a load for my hunting rifle. And I've only gone to the range with test loads for my 30-06 once.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
When
no,
I
when
do
you're
go
busy,
back,
you're
though.
busy. I mean, yeah.
If I didn't review hunting rifles and I kept a hunting rifle for more than a year, I would probably reload. Like I remember my first hunting rifle was a Savage in 270, and I reloaded for it, and I got a really nice tight load out of it, and I just made a whole pile of them, and I think I made 200 rounds, and that would have been good for life, right?
Yep.
But the way I go right now, I buy a rifle for hunting season. I use it, and I'm just using factory ammo. I wouldn't if I was keeping it. If I was keeping it, I'd probably reload, and I'd probably go for AccuBond bullets. If I was running anything like fast,
Right.
usually like a 270 kind of a thing. They're somewhere around that 2800, 3000 FPS, and if you hit something really close, that's gonna wipe a lot of that lead off. So I would probably go for an AccuBond and something like that. What level of accuracy is sufficient for hunting, in your opinion?
It
Oh,
depends on what you're hunting.
I always want MOA or better. I always want the most accurate that I can get. Period. This comes up a lot, and I don't see why my hunting ammo has to be any less accurate than my target ammo.
Well, here's the thing. We were just discussing how you thought that I should degrade my accuracy a little bit and get some more velocity.
Well, not that you should do that intentionally, but possibly as a result of getting more velocity, you might lose some. There's got to be a limit.
So what's the trade-off between accuracy and velocity? So
Well, right
obviously
now you're
you have a
sub-MOA.
trade-off.
Yeah, right now you're sub MOA, and if I had that rifle, I would trade a little bit of that sub MOA for a bit more velocity. So I would stop at MOA.
Right.
I'd crank it up until I got MOA or maybe inch and a quarter, and then I would stop.
Gotcha. See,
Or
I don't
then-
think. The Axis is a varmint rifle though, and I think that half MOA is really the peak. You don't want to go bigger than half MOA for varmint rifles because varmints are small.
Well, our varmints aren't small.
Well, that's true. You got a good
Are
point
you-
there.
you're
Our
not
varmints
gonna-
aren't small. I could go up
Yeah.
to MOA with our varmints and still hit them every time. So
Yeah, our smallest varmint is a young crow. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you got big groundhogs and coyotes and
Yep, that's true. It's not like we're shooting those Richardson ground squirrels out here.
exactly. Unfortunately, but that's because we haven't transferred any in.
Yeah, have you shipped? You haven't shipped those over yet, Adriel. You need to send us a box.
I'm gonna live trap some.
Yeah, live chop them with your 17 HM. Oh no, that won't work.
No, won't work at all.
Yeah, I think accuracy wise, I disagree with Trevor a little bit. I think that if you're hunting moose, you need to be sub moose heart. If you're hunting deer, you need to be sub deer heart. I think whatever your target is, you need to be able to hit smaller than that. But you don't need to necessarily be MOA. You need to be able to be accurate enough to kill the animal cleanly within your comfort zone. So as long as you're able to do that, I think whatever accuracy level your rifle is at is fine, as long as you can kill the animal ethically and cleanly. I don't think there's a number. I don't think it's MOA. I think it's whatever animal you're at, look at the kill zone, it's got to be smaller than that.
I think for if you want to get the most utility out of a hunting rifle, then you need MOA.
I agree.
Because that's where, like, if you only have one gun and you could potentially take something at 25 yards or 200 or 300,
sure, absolutely,
MOA is the way to roll. Yep. But if you've got multiple guns, like Trevor was talking about using the 30-30 from a tree stand or something like that, if you can limit the distance at which you're shooting your game to 50 yards, then 3-4 MOA is fine. It'll
shoot. You could even use an SKS at that distance.
Well, I was going to say that. I mean, if it's within range of the 30-30, it's within range of an SKS. Now,
and you can just put the bayonet on and stab it at that range.
Yeah, or some guys will use like milsurps and that kind of thing, right? So they'll have their super gun, their bolt action scoped rifle for the long stuff, but then they'll have maybe like a K98 or a Mosin or one of those Swiss K31s or something like that for the close in stuff, because they want to hunt with the milsurp as part of the experience, right?
Yep.
What do we got next here? For you guys, do you guys shoot for heart and lungs? Do you guys punch the front shoulders, or do you guys shoot for the head?
I always go for the vital organs.
Depends on what I'm hunting.
Oh, I thought it was a big game question.
Let's say
if
deer.
If it's big game, then yeah, I think heart and lungs is your best bet.
Have you guys ever done the front shoulder shot?
I wouldn't do it intentionally. I mean, I wouldn't want to pass through bone and ruin meat for nothing.
There's not really a lot of meat, so I'll be the devil's advocate on this one, just to be a little bit contentious. But the front shoulder shot, when an animal's broadside, may be a good idea if you can't let that animal run one way or the other. So let's say they're on like the edge of a ridge or something like that. And if you do the heart and lungs shot, they're gonna like run off in somewhere that you can't retrieve them. Then like a front shoulder shot will anchor them right there. You'll destroy both the front shoulders. You'll take out a lot of the heart, and the front of the lungs there, just with the bone fragments. So it does work for that kind of thing, but it needs more accuracy. And it like you said, it does make a mess. It makes for a mess cleaning them up, because you lose some of the top shoulder meat there. And why wouldn't you shoot for the head?
It's too small of a target, and the potential for failure is too great.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
My mic was muted. Yeah, the brain is too small. It's way smaller than the head is, and so people don't realize where the brain is. They just shoot it in the face, and that doesn't kill it, and you get an animal that's very much alive running off with half a face, and that's where horror movies come from, folks.
And anti-hunters people that weren't anti-hunters become anti-hunters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's too many people out there that overestimate their ability and injure stuff.
Yep.
You know,
I think if you're, if you know that you are an extremely competent shooter, and you know that your rifle is extremely accurate, and you're within, 50 yards of a big moose, and you know where his brain is, then sure, go for it. If you know. But if you don't know, don't even try. Like, you're not going to know until you have a dead animal first, and then you can look at it and see where the biology is of it, the way it's all laid out inside. So I don't think that your first time you kill an animal, you should be shooting at the head. You should be shooting for the vitals, because that's where you know where the vitals are, and then you can figure out brain shots later if you want to get expert level or whatever.
There's also you also have to always remember the path of the bullet and where it's going to exit. So the angle that it goes in is very, very important. When you take a hunter safety course, especially in archery, they talk about the angle that it comes in and what it's going to pass through before it goes out. And hitting it in the head may not actually get the job done, depending on the angle and where it's going to exit. Also,
you get a nice thick sloped skull or something, and
Right.
the bullet just ricochets up, and
a moose's skull is a lot harder than a moose's rib cage.
yeah, it is.
So, I mean, there are even cases of people getting shot in the head with 45 ACP and it rolling off and bounce, and not penetrating. So, headshots aren't always what they're
No. What's it cut out to be?
Chalked up to be.
Chalked
Yeah.
up to be? There you go.
Three
He got a
different
text
versions.
halfway through, so he just kind of trailed off there.
Worse. So much worse.
Yeah. No, the other thing I would add as well, if you're shooting for the head on a deer or something like that, they can move pretty quick. So you could be on, go to pull a trigger, commit, pull a trigger, and that head can move like half a foot by the time you've pulled that trigger. So getting a miss or a near, not a near hit, but a poor hit on it where it's not going to do the job is,
That's right.
is entirely possible.
They can move their head way faster than they can move their body. So they can swing their head around real quick and you completely miss, but they swing their head around real quick when you fire off the shot. It doesn't matter. Their body hasn't gone anywhere yet, so bullet's still going to beat them to the punch.
Yeah, exactly. Semi-auto versus bolt. What do you guys think about
Oh, you
hunting
skipped
with the
right over
semi-auto?
muzzle loaders.
Muzzle loaders.
Oh, okay, let's talk about that one.
No, skip them.
No,
They suck.
skip it on. Move on. Don't do those.
I've hunted with a muzzle loader. Have you guys?
Nope. And
I had for a while. I had a certain fascination with muzzle loaders. I never bought one. I've never actually even fired.
You
one.
also had cowboy dreams.
No fantasies, Trevor. Fantasies.
my
Get it
bad.
straight and get your cowboy hat out.
Speaking of straight,
I think that if I reached a certain level in my hunting where it was no longer a challenge and it was just boring, then maybe muzzleloader's the next step. It's kind of like archery where you've only got one shot. You can't really reload it quick enough. You really have to be sure that you're going to hit what you're aiming for. And so I think it takes you up to that next level, skill-wise, patience-wise, experience-wise, whatnot. I'm definitely not there yet, but maybe someday. I don't have a problem with muzzleloaders at all, and I think they are a fun challenge in their own right.
I mean, inline muzzle loaders are pretty accurate. So there's like the challenge there is gone at least. But yeah, you are stuck to the one shot, and there's no like even with a Ruger #1, you can still reload that thing pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that with an inline muzzle loader. The thing I didn't like about hunting with one is the ammo is it's not hydrophobic. It attracts water, so you
Right.
have to clean them after you shoot them. And there's not really an easy way to unload them.
Right. You basically just have to shoot them.
Yeah, you have to shoot them, and you have to clean them after you fire a couple shots. So
I've seen the CO2 cartridge way of unloading them, and that just seems like a waste.
it seems like a lot of work too.
Yeah.
It's like you dump a bullet and you're powdered all over the place, and,
Yeah.
or your pellets if you're going to use pellets. But I think I would use a muzzle loader if there was a season for it here in Alberta. There's not a season for it. It's not considered like there's no primitive weapon for muzzle loaders. There's just like with a bow you can go early, but not with
Yeah.
the muzzle loader. If there was, I'd go early.
So there's
I
no
mean, I know
point. Yeah, there's no advantage to using them, so don't, basically. Or
Manitoba does. I think Manitoba has what they call the primitive season. They got like, at one time, I believe you used to be able to get like 5 tags in Manitoba
oh wow.
for different seasons and styles of hunting tool.
Yeah, there's some places that have like too many deer.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, in the city. I
Yeah.
see monster trophy bucks running around the city of Winnipeg. I'm like, what? Some of the biggest deer I've ever seen were in like downtown Winnipeg. Well, not downtown, but within the city limits of
They're
Winnipeg.
getting
It
a
was amazing.
latte at Starbucks.
Yeah, yeah, it's just crazy.
yeah. Semi-auto versus bolt.
Well, if you want to talk about that hunting accuracy and it not and being minute of heart, then I think semi-autos are acceptable. I'm all about semi-autos for all things. I
think semi-autos are particularly useful if you're predator hunting.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
I
Mhm.
think, like anything else, it has its place, and as long as you get the required accuracy out of it, it's fine anywhere. But I think if you're predator hunting, you should definitely have semi-auto.
Yeah.
So
Try try goose hunting with a bolt action shotgun.
Yeah, there's that. Yep. Yeah, goose hunting with semi-autos makes a lot more sense than pump or single shot. So
Yeah. I would totally use an AR-15 to hunt coyotes
Oh, yeah,
if it was
absolutely.
legal.
Yep.
Oh, even okay. So like for deer, an AR-10, because like an AR-10 would be right around $1,000, maybe lower, and they're very accurate. So I may use an AR-10 if they were unrestricted here in Canada, but since they're restricted, I will not.
Well, there's the Alberta Tactical Modern Hunter.
Yes.
That's way more than $1,000, though.
Yeah, it's not at my pay grade. If I made more, I would consider it because that is a match quality AR-10 like rifle.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like otherwise, I just use like for big game. I love the idea of a bolt. They're accurate. They're very reliable, and you get that one shot. I mean, yeah, pumps and levers or levers or whatever you want to call them are faster, but that first shot is the shot that's going to do the damage. And if you miss with that one, you're not going to make it up with a second shot on the same deer, right?
And this should not have to be an issue, but it is. With a semi-auto, you've pressed the trigger, you've put down your buck, now you're all excited and jumping around. You've got a loaded gun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With a semi-auto, with that, like I said, that shouldn't be an issue, but we're all humans, and it is an issue. So with a bolt action, you press the trigger, the gun goes off. Your gun is now safe until you rack the bolt again. So there's that to consider. But I think proper training would mitigate that quite nicely. But it's just something to bear in mind.
Yeah, exactly. Would you guys hunt with a milsurp?
Why not? If it launches a bullet out accurately enough, yep.
Do you consider an M305 a milsurp?
Yes.
Kind of. Yeah, kind of.
What about a Lee Enfield?
Yes, yeah. It's probably for decades, Matthew, that was the most popular hunting rifle in Canada.
What about a Bubba Sporterized Lee Enfield?
Well,
I used one of those to shoot my second deer.
Oh, there you go.
the reason why I asked about the M305 is because Owen killed at least one black bear with an M305.
Yep.
There you go.
And I mean, I was able to hit 8-inch plates with my M305 and my Garand at 100 yards, experimental target, hostage target with the red plate in the chest and then the red plate up by the head. I could hit that with iron sights, my M305 and my Garand all day. So why couldn't I hit a deer or a moose even all the way out to 200?
Exactly. No, I got no issue with people hunting with milsurps. That's a great genre of firearms. By great,
if they're good enough for killing Nazis, good enough for killing deers.
For deers.
I've done quite a bit hunting with milsurps. So I'll usually have like my bolt super gun for the long shots. But if I know I'm going close, I tend to take out a milsurp. This year I'll be bringing my Garand out to do the close stuff. But in the past I've used SKS for close. I've used Mosin. That 303 I've used. So. Yeah, it's kind of fun. I've also taken an SVT-40 out, but
really,
yeah, as long as it's close.
I am quite taken with that rifle. I'm not gonna lie.
The SVT-40?
Yep,
they're
because it's semi.
Cool.
It's semi and it's got a detachable box magazine. I don't understand why this didn't take off and become a bigger competition for the Garand when the Americans were carrying the Garand. And the Soviets were still carrying the Mosin, and the Germans were carrying the Mauser. Their main battle rifles were still bolt-action rifles, but the SVT-40 existed. I don't understand why it wasn't more popular. What don't I know about the history of these rifles?
They're a pain in the butt to disassemble, and if you're like a conscript and you're not like a professional soldier, disassembling that SVT-40 is a total pain in the butt. There's lots of little recoil springs. Taking the main recoil spring out is a little bit tricky, and if it accidentally shot off, your recoil spring and the guide rod and whatnot are like in the snow somewhere, and you have to clean it because it's they're shooting corrosive ammo, right? So you have to clean this stupid semi-automatic rifle when the good old Mosin from the 1800s. Was a lot easier to clean. So I think it was their conscripts kind of a thing, right?
Okay. So the ammo back then was corrosive as well as the newer corrosive ammo. And, cleaning those in the field, obviously, you're right, would have been an issue. I wonder how much they bothered to clean their battle rifles in the field. Like, how many AKs do you think get cleaned on a regular basis out there in...
None. AKs never jam.
You know? But they're shooting corrosive ammo over there, and
they don't have any humidity in the desert though, so no moisture to attract, so it can't rust.
Okay, So, all right.
I'm making stuff up as we go along.
Well, but I've heard that, Matthew.
Oh, really? I made that up just.
No, I have really, really, really heard that. No kidding.
Oh, interesting. Well, I mean, there's a certain logic to it. I don't know if it's true, but there's a certain logic to it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What level magnification is the best for a hunting scope?
100 or nothing.
3 to 9 or 4 to 16. It depends on what
Depending
you're
on what you're
hunting
hunting
and
and
where
what
you're
range.
hunting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Overall,
a lot of these questions really depends.
Yep, on the animal, the terrain, but in general, if you're hunting whitetail deer or moose inside of 500, a 3 to 9 is going to be okay.
A 3 to 9 is one of the most popular magnifications for a reason. It works very well. It's great at 3 for up close stuff, and it's great long distance at 9.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think too many people choose to go for more magnification and get a crappier scope.
Yes,
when getting the 3 to 9 and spending more money on higher quality glass would be way better than getting the crappier 4 to 16 or whatever.
People underestimate how valuable it is to have good quality glass.
Yep. Now, coming back to my 223 rifle, one of the things I did was I dumped the Bushnell 3200 3 to 9 scope in favor of a Vortex Viper 3 to 9, and it has helped. There's no question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, the 3200's okay, but it's not like the Viper's like what 3 times more expensive?
Maybe double.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the glass will be better on that thing. And the surprising thing is that you take take that Viper 3 to 9 and compare it with a Tasco 4 to 14 or something like that, you'll see more and you'll be able to resolve more with the Viper than you will with the Tasco.
Yep.
The more magnification doesn't matter if it's not clear and you can't see it.
It's like zooming in on a low res picture. You just get bigger pixels.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't become any clearer. It just gets bigger.
Well, and then they're harder to acquire the scope picture because they're like more finicky when you've got those higher magnification
and
scopes.
the higher magnification, the smaller the exit pupil, which means you have to put your head in perfectly the right spot every time, and it's hard to find even your rear image. A lot of people don't realize that either. So, I'm personally my favorite magnification is 2 to 7 is my personal favorite. I think that's the perfect mix for the type of hunting I do, but 3 to 9 is also very, very popular and a really good choice.
I would tend to agree with you, but the thing I like about 3 to 9 is that everyone sells them, and it's always the most popular scope. Because it's the most popular scope, they're generally cheaper. Yeah, they got the most features and the highest quality for the dollar for a scope, right?
Yeah.
I would actually really love more fixed 6x zooms.
Oh,
but there's
I concur.
So few out there. There's a Weaver. There's a Loophole, and that's it. There's not a lot of selection in your fixed zoom scopes, and I think
there 6 is about perfect. And you imagine what kind of glass you could get if they spent the money they spent on a high quality 3 to 9 and put all that extra money out of the features and put it all into glass.
Yeah,
you'd have a great scope.
Yeah, but I don't know. We must be in the minority because there's not a lot of scope manufacturers doing that for us. Maybe we could contact Vortex.
Yeah, sure.
Ask them. Hey, do some 6x up. At least 2 of them.
Yeah, at least 2. Yeah, do 2 because you got 2 sold for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Well, while we're talking about scopes, what's the minimum you should spend on a scope? And we'll say big game hunting scope.
$99.
Is as much as you can afford. Like I went with when I got my 30-06, I put the Vortex Viper 3 to 9 on it, and then when I could afford a better scope, I put a Vortex Viper HS on it, 4 to 16, with a 44 millimeter objective and just better glass, better clarity, better magnification, adjustable objective, and that's probably all the scope I'll ever put on that rifle. And then I took that scope and put on my Thompson Center. I mean, my 17 HMR has a $650 Loophole on it. What's that tell you? Put the best glass on that you can.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, in my opinion, nothing less than $200. When you get into your like
yeah,
$100
absolutely.
scopes,
Oh no,
well,
you're not
like
getting anything.
just to draw a line, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
like a $100 scope is not really even worth mounting because the
It's not gonna
optical
even
quality
hold it-
won't be good.
Yeah, it's not
And it
even
won't
going to
hold
hold
at
at zero. No, I mean your clicks are going to be misaligned, and everything's just There's no way they can put any sort of quality into a $100 scope and expect anything out of it except for something for plinking at the range with your kids who don't expect to hit anything anyway.
Yeah, yeah. So, some guys still use the package scopes that come with like the Savage Axis or the Remington 770 or 73 or whatever. But keep in mind those scopes are garbage. You hopefully it'll work for you the first season, but then after that dump it and get something else cuz
my Savage came from Canadian Tire with the scope on it. And I traded it for a $99 spotting scope. Didn't care. It's like somebody needed a scope, didn't need anything fancy. I didn't have a spotting scope for the range. Here you go. I don't even know if I fired a shot out of that rifle with that scope on it.
Yeah, no, I pull mine off. You could put it on like a 22 or something like that, but
that's where it went.
Yeah. No, I would say something $200 and more. And if you can get to like $300 or $400, like the difference between a $200 scope and a $400 scope, you're going to get a lot of very noticeable.
Yep.
Now, I mean, you're going to get into diminishing returns once you get up to like $800. So like the difference between like an $800 scope and a $1,200 scope, if we're still talking about a 3 to 9. Is going to be a little bit less than that $200 to $400. So
I think like between the $300 and $500 range is probably a good place to start. That's probably going to be your best bang for your buck. For somebody who is the casual hunter who goes out after their deer every year, and that's basically it. I mean, if you're hardcore into your target shooting between hunting seasons and you hunt a lot, then you're going to spend a lot more on your scope. But I think the $300 to $500 range is probably your best bang for your buck, personally.
Yeah, exactly.
But you did say minimum, so I'm going to agree with you. You know what? I'm not going to agree with you. I think $199 is the minimum you should spend.
I think,
$199.
I think there's a banner that's $199.
All right. Any other thoughts on hunting topics?
No, I think that's enough to get us some hate mail. So
perfect.
That should be good. Yeah.
Well, speaking of hate mail, we got one from Andy Shand.
We're hating on Andy Shan right now because he bailed on us. He's not coming, and neither is Steven to the 3-gun.
Right. Well, then I'm going to read his email with hate in my voice.
Do it.
Excellent.
I don't know how to do that, actually, so I'm just going to read it.
All right.
He says, "Hi there, Slamfire hosts. Last episode, you guys talked briefly about the Dillon Square Deal B reloading press. I'd like to point out a few things about the SDB because I feel that it is often overlooked. Of all of the Dillon progressive presses, the SDB is the quickest, easiest, cheapest to change to another caliber. Like many, it's a simple matter to switch tool heads with preset dies already in them, so no adjustment is required. Unlike most, changing the priming system between large and small is easy. Switching between calibers takes under 5 minutes and is simple. I use an SDB to load 5 different pistol cartridges. I have a separate tool head and powder measure for each one. I also bought a complete second priming system which makes switching between large and small even simpler. It's not necessary to take these steps, but it makes things faster and easier with nothing to adjust. I think it's a great choice for a progressive press as long as you don't need to load rifle cartridges. The handle stroke is nice and short. With the bigger presses, the handle stroke is much longer because these have the capacity to do rifle length cartridges. If all you're going to do is load pistol ammo, why use a press with such a long stroke? Although it does not have a case and bullet feeder, it's no problem to make 400 rounds an hour with one. I shoot a lot, and I find its production rate to be fine. It's a slick run to press. It's a slick run to press. It's a slick press to run. It's no problem to remove a damaged case or a case with the wrong size primer pocket. This happens with 45 without messing things up. It also doesn't feed another primer if there's no case present, which is a nice feature.
The 650 won't do that. You just keep spitting out primers whether you want to or not. Very nice feature.
Cool. The large square ram, hence the name, results in less flex of the shell plate, which makes nice consistent ammo. The small diameter of the shell plate results in less chance of powder being tossed out of the case as the plate rotates. It's auto-indexing, and it's also very compact for a progressive press. Of course, it's covered by Dillon's awesome warranty, and it's quite a bit cheaper than the bigger progressives. I shouldn't say this out loud. You're not, you're typing. But in approximately 50,000 rounds loaded on my SDB, I've yet to make a squib. Anybody looking at a Dillon 550 or 650 just for making pistol ammo should definitely take a look at the SDB. I think it's one of the better progressives and a great value. Keep up the great work. I'll just throw in 2 more mundane old thumbs ups. I can't think of anything exotic right now. Thanks.
Could have given us 2 square deals.
Yeah.
I loaded on his press, and he's right. I wouldn't buy another 650. I would just buy one of these, I would buy this. I would recommend this before a 550 anytime. And again, especially if you're only going to do pistol ammo, you don't need the bigger, heavier press. Proprietary dies, but inexpensive. So who cares, right? No, it really is. And it's the underdog. It's very underrated.
Yeah. Yeah, no, usually when things are inexpensive and smaller than the original, they are.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean good things don't come in small packages.
Oh, there's one on Canadian Gun Nuts right now on 45 ACP for $300 per shipping. He needs some extra parts, but the thing maybe he doesn't know, you can just ask Dillon for those and they'll just send them to you.
Huh. Well, there you go. There's a deal. Go for it, Adriel.
I already have one.
Well, buy it for me then. My shipping address is... All right, Adriel, speaking of you, I don't know, that was a terrible segue. Read this next one for us from Tom, please.
Okay, from Tom. Short ones, fat ones, skinny ones, long ones. I've shot everyone, man. Across the ranges, man. Or far, man. Seen the wind effects, man. Shot lots of V-Bulls, man. Okay, here's my opinion
I think
on length versus
I think you're supposed to sing that, like the Johnny Cash
supposed to
song.
sing that, yeah.
He said he was on hold and bored when he wrote this. I was like, no, dude, it's fine. It's totally fine.
Yeah, I like it. I was reading ahead. Sorry, Adriel, I cut you off. Carry on.
Okay, here's my opinion on length versus accuracy. Short and stiff is good for tight places, and it's just as accurate as long and limp. There will be less velocity, yes, but you can just put more dope in the scope. Less velocity will be affected more by the wind, but you can just correct for that as well. As long as you do proper load development and stay out of the transonic zone, a short barrel will be just as accurate as a long barrel. Long barrels will whip more, but once again, if you do proper load development and find the node it likes, it will shoot lights out with a faster velocity. Faster velocity, of course, equals less exposure to wind and gravity, which decreases the need to correct for elevation and windage. Since wind is a variable and affects slower bullets more noticeably, and most people can't read the wind or understand what it does to a bullet's path, they equate horizontal dispersion as inaccurate. They blame the short barrel instead of the variable, uncontrollable condition. Velocity affects stabilization and the bullet's exposure to gravity and wind. Everything drops at the same speed. With a longer barrel, you close the gap between the muzzle and the target sooner, which tends to make people think in terms of laser beams and whiz-bang magnums. If I had a baseball, an AR with a 10.5-inch barrel, and an F-class rifle with a 30-inch barrel, all lined up on a picnic table, perfectly level, and the ball dropped at the same time as the bullets left their muzzles, they would all hit the ground at the same time. The F-class rifle would be touted as flatter, but is it? Or is it just faster because it went further? My Colt Canada IUR has a 15.7-inch barrel, 1-in-7 twist. My Wyndham Weaponry Vex has a 20-inch bull barrel, 1-in-8 twist. My Swiss Arms Black Special has a 20.78-inch pencil-type barrel, 1-in-7 twist. With each one loaded to its own pet load, they're all equally accurate out to 800 meters. Twist rate is another factor lots of people don't understand. A guy shooting a 20-inch Nork AR with a 1-in-12 twist and 77-grain Black Hills match ammo will be spanked. No, that won't go well. Will be spanked by me and my 15.7-inch IUR shooting the same load. But he'll blame the Nork and its pencil barrel. Anyway, here are my thoughts. If you had short ones, long ones, fat ones, and skinny ones being shot in a tunnel with their own pet loads suited for their own ROT, they'd all be equally as accurate until the long skinny ones heated up and started to string. Perhaps another email is in order. I mean, come on, people. That's why the good folks at Jamington came out with the VTR line of triangle-shaped barrels, right? Take care and shoot off the mag, Mr. Uzi.
That's a good email. I like that one. Good one. Good job, Thomas.
Yeah.
And I can't disagree with anything he said. He's absolutely correct as far as I know.
Except for those weird triangle barrels.
Those are weird. They really are weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other thoughts or comments we want to make on that? Do we need to explain what transonic is to people who might not know?
Oh yeah, it may as well.
It's
That's when you assume the bullet's speed. You shouldn't ever assume the bullet's speed. You have to ask the bullet what its speed is.
Oh, that's hilarious, Adriel. But no.
I just got it. Oh, yeah. Always ask first. Never
Always
assume.
ask, never assume. It's when the bullet slows.
It's gonna be funny for a while. I need to mute.
It's when the bullet slows down into or slower
The
than the
wrong
speed of
washroom.
sound.
It slows down into the wrong washroom. There.
All right, you got to mute yourself, buddy. Yeah, mute yourself before you get muted by me. Yeah, when you get close to the speed of sound, shock waves will form and cause the bullet to tumble. So you have to stay either well above the speed of sound or well under it. If you get close to the speed of sound, you get into the transonic range, and funny shock waves happen, and you get funky stuff going on with your bullet path.
You okay, Trevor?
He is not. All right.
Trevor?
Kelly, you're sounding good. Why don't you read this next one from Kevin?
Okay. Now, I've been coming in and out of, so if I drop, you guys pick it up, okay?
Okay.
All right. Hi, Slam, for our hosts. Talk about missed opportunity when talking about our insights. At Appleseed, we teach the analogy of good child, bad child. The good child stays close to you and does exactly what you tell her. I like the fact that he said her, by the way. The bad child takes off far away and does the exact opposite of what you tell him. It is the same with our insights. The front sights is the bad child, and far away and opposite. You get the idea. So Kevin's right. We talk about good child, bad child. So the child that is good is the one that's closest to you. So the rear sight, and the one that's bad is the one that is the front sight. So yeah. So we use that in analogy. You guys did a pretty good job of explaining it last week. So, anyways,
I'm gonna bring in a car analogy at some point here.
I just wish that Kevin had access to his own show to talk about this stuff on. Oh wait.
All right. Yeah. Okay, he goes on to say that I have a Leopold Mark AR scope for my ACR, and it's in mils. My adjustments are 10 clicks equals 1 mil, so generally use 3 clicks to equal 1 MOA. It isn't perfect, but it's close enough. Again, rounded up. As the AR barrel lengths, I agree with Adriel and Matthew. A shorter, stiffer barrel should be more accurate, but obviously it won't have the same velocity as a longer barrel. Why choose, though? Get one of each. And he's right. Also, due to the restrictions of short barrel rifles in the U.S., 16 inches plus AR barrels are much more common. It might also be something to consider if you plan to travel to the U.S. for competition. You will not be able to bring a short barrel rifle into the U.S. And he's right on that, too. I just got caught up on the past couple of episodes, and they were great. I especially enjoyed the one with Reg Wales. I give 2 thumbs up, a gold star, and the Ace of Spades. Do you know why he gave the Ace of Spades, you guys?
Because he is the Ace of Spades?
Yeah, because he's the Ace of Spades on the Podcasters playing cards.
Exactly.
There you go.
Oh,
So
and I just picked up the cards, and who do I got but the Queen of Spades?
That'd be me.
Well, you get cursed out a lot because we play a card game at this house called the Queen of Spades.
And
You
she's
never
the-
seem to want to be in my hand.
Huh.
That sounded so...
That's terrible.
Moving on.
All right, Trevor.
Yeah.
This next one from Tom B again.
All right. Thanks for writing in, Kev. Okay, from Tom B. Hey, guys, long time no here. Just thought I'd chime in about the last episode. Trevor is 100% right. The end.
that's what he wrote. You're right. Perfect. Let's move on. I got your back, buddy.
Thanks, pal. Trevor is 100% right about the rear and front sight adjustments. Sorry, Frosty. The lack of knowledge on Frosty's part was frightening for someone who calls himself a hunting gear guy. The lack of
and that's not in the email, by the way.
No.
It
was implied.
And we discussed it earlier. He wasn't actually wrong. He was just explaining it in a funny way.
Yeah, we did have that outtake.
Yeah, it might be on the end. We'll see. See how much editing I want to do. But no, if you go back and listen and really think about what he's saying, it does make sense. But it's just being explained in a way that we're not used to.
It's almost like he was an upper Canadian explaining it in such a convoluted, complicated way, right?
You should run for parliament there, Adriel.
Yeah.
You could write laws.
Yeah. I'm correct, and I'm explaining it in such a way that it's just too bad you're not
wrong.
Smart enough to keep up with me. So, oh wait, that was another co-host. The lack of knowledge of mill radians made me have to pull over and laugh while spilling coffee. It's also pretty much 1 centimeter at 100 meters per 1/10 mil click, or like you said, a third MOA at 100 yards. And I was out with my AR the other day, and it is in mils. 0.1 mil times 100 meters equals 1 click. And I looked at that and went, I don't know what that means. 1/4, a half, 1 1/4, 1 1/2. Okay, try that, John. Hey, we're good. Excellent. So anyway, it almost equals.
Well, none of us have really worked with milliradians before. Now that I read this 1 centimeter at 100 per 10th of a click makes perfect sense. So, I mean, it's nice and simple. The math, like everything else in metric, it's all tens. It's easy.
Exactly.
Good thing your targets are in centimeters, right? Oh, wait, they're in inches.
No, they're in inches. So that's why.
Yeah.
Because, with guns, everybody just tends to say imperial. Anyway.
Right.
So he carries... Continuing on, he says, so when people wonder why... Huskamawa?
Yeah, own it. Carry on.
All right. Huskamawa scopes have third MOA turrets. That's why. They're actually using mill-based turrets, but use a weird calibration to sound cool and sell junk. As for the SKS thing, I've decided to add to the prize pot. The winner will receive a Norinco SKS, an extra... all right, fine. An extra synthetic Monte Carlo stock, half a crate of ammo, and 2 more morale patches of my choosing to bring the event to a close. I had to order the patches from a far-off place, and once they arrived today, by the way, and customs sodomizes me on duty, I will send it all to Trevor. So I'll end my note with 2 honks for Trevor, since he didn't get any while standing on the street years ago. Cheers, Mr. Uzi.
Nice.
So to remind the listeners what he's talking about, Jay Hines said, if Trevor buys an SKS and shoots it, I'll shave off my beard. I didn't have to buy it. Well, actually, I will give I'll give Mr. Uzi $1, so we can make it so that Jay can't back out. I will buy the SKS for $1 from Thomas. I will shoot it, and then the winner, whoever we're going to raffle it off, whoever wins the raffle, is going to get the SKS rifle that I shot. I'll even sign the stock for them if they want, because that'll be cheesy. They'll get an extra Monte Carlo synthetic stock and a half a crate of ammo and 2 morale patches. So we got to start selling tickets on that soon, actually. Have we identified our charity yet?
I don't think so.
All right.
No, we were just discussing that this evening, and we'll continue to discuss that. So
all right,
we haven't made it a decision.
All right.
Yeah.
You're cutting in and out. It's hilarious. All right. This next.
Hello. Sorry. Shut up.
Well, thanks again to Mr. Uzi for stepping up and donating awesome prizes. So thank you again to Tom. And this next one comes to us from Spencer. He says, "Hey folks, great show last time around. Your discussion on the legalities of magazine capacity reminded me of my most recent project gun. As you can see below, it's a Mossberg 500 with a 14-inch barrel and a Raptor's bird's head grip on it. Just another short-barreled shotgun that cost me a $200 tax stamp and 8 to 10 months of government wait time, right? Actually, no. In fact, I bought, built, and test-fired this gun in an afternoon. The configuration below is completely legal and not an NFA item simply because the ATF defines a shotgun as having a shoulder stock. This gun is pistol gripped, and I scrolled too far and lost my place, is a pistol grip only model that I got on sale from a local sporting goods store. Since it never had a shoulder stock, it is not a shotgun, but a firearm. And while any shotgun with a barrel less than 18 inches needs a tax stamp, the only requirement for a firearm is that the overall length is greater than 26 inches. This gun is 26 and a quarter inches on the nose, so no tax stamp needed. Crazy, huh? Right now it looks kind of rough with all the different finishes and such. I'm planning on either using some Duracoat on it myself or getting it Cerakoted somewhere, but I haven't figured out a color scheme yet.
Or just leave it because it's not a car.
Krylon is what you need to get for that. It's just Krylon. You'll be fine.
Or it's fine.
No, you gotta spray paint it in your basement.
I'm the guy who was trying to find a place to hydro dip Magpul furniture. What am I saying?
He says, but so far it shoots just fine. No PSs this time. Keep up the good work, Spencer in Smyrna.
That's pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's mean looking.
I kind of like it.
I wouldn't even say it's pistol grip.
No, it's like straight stock. Something
take
weird.
your hunting stock and cut off the stock and just the part where your hand goes. That's got to walk into the web of his hand every time he shoots it, unless he holds onto the front really good.
Really good. Yep. Thank you, Spencer. Thank you for once again bringing up the convoluted gun laws that we have in both of our countries. That's always a good time. Mm-hmm. This next submission is an audio submission, and I assume that was saved to the email or something. I haven't even heard it yet.
Yeah, I heard it. So isn't it funny that two of the hosts of Modern Rifleman Radio have written into our show as opposed to doing their own show? Isn't that funny?
If they just did their own show, they wouldn't have to bother us and make me edit and have to put in like edit points so I can put in this audio submission.
They could correct us on their own show rather than coming on our show and making us look bad.
Man, all right, let's do this audio submission thing.
Hello, Slamfire gang and listeners. It's Brian from Modern Rifleman Radio. I still think technically I'm with Modern Rifleman Radio. Don't know. Haven't figured that out yet. Some more thoughts on barrel length for 3-gun for an AR. Something that didn't get mentioned, and I think it is relevant. The different length of gas systems. If you're going with a short barrel, you're into a carbine length or maybe even a piston length system, which generally, comparatively, is going to be more harsh to shoot than, say, a longer mid-length or rifle length. That has a factor in keeping the barrel pointed at the target for rapid follow-up shots, which are pretty important in 3-gun. So that's something I think the listener should consider. I personally prefer a longer barrel so that I can get a rifle length gas system because it's just that much smoother to shoot. It's not like a carbine length system is harsh and you're going to hurt yourself or anything. My goodness, it's 223, 556. The recoil is pretty minimal. However, it is noticeable. So I think that's one of the reasons that the longer barrels are as popular in 3-gun. Now, I could be wrong about that. They may be running a mid-length or carbine length gas system even with a longer barrel. Not sure. But that's just something that the listener there might want to consider. Whatever he or she gets, please remember, shoot safe, shoot straight, and shoot it often.
All right, well, thanks, Brian. I have no idea what you said yet because I haven't listened, so I don't know what you said, but I'm sure it was great. It was about a gas system, apparently, and you should be considering your barrel length for your ARs. That's all I got.
Beautiful.
But I hope it was great, and this next one's from John. Whose turn is it? Kelly?
Oh, mine definitely.
Adriel. Well, let's do Kelly because it's short and she might not cut out as much, and then you can do the next one from Dave.
Perfect. So from John, it says, "Hi guys, exactly. Matthew said it correctly,
and they were good.
But when
there we go. Let's carry on.
Yeah, we're done. Okay, so Matthew said it correctly, but when Adriel added in, he said it backwards. Just pointing this out. I always found it easier just to move the rear sight since that's the one that's most movable. And he's right about that. In the direction you want the group to move. Keep up the great work and stay frosty. Regards, John L.
Cool.
Did I cut out?
A little bit, but it's cool. It's enough that we could understand everything you said. So
We got the gist of it. Matthew was right. Adriel was wrong. Moving on.
yeah.
This next one's from Dave. Trevor, why do you hate me? I should come out to your course just to give you a reason.
I don't need a reason, Dave. I'm filled with hate. Carry on.
As for everyone else, Matthew, Adriel, and Kelly, thanks for reading my email and trying to answer. I would
Hold
order
on.
from
Do we know why I'm
Because
getting
you
accused?
weren't there to answer the question. I believe this is the guy that asked the pistol question, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So remember when we said that Trevor hates
He's looking
him.
for the holster. Yeah.
He's looking for the holster.
Oh, and I did find out about the holster.
Yeah, but you still hate Dave.
Okay.
You
Did he
didn't come
ever-
on the show, that's why.
Okay. I contact David Copping on Facebook. Redline.
Precision.
I will look it up. It's not Redline Precision. It's Redline Tactical or something.
Okay, I'll read his email here, and then you can grab it for the end. Thanks for reading my email and trying to answer. I would order from the U.S., but first I need to know what holster would fit. There are no holsters out there that I can find that are marked as for GP Mark 7, not even at Highlander Tactical or solely Canadian. So my search continues. My wife is not a shooter, but there was no strong objection to me going to Alberta. If I can get a holster, I will sign up, if there's still room by then.
There's room on the waiting list.
All right. I got it. Blade Tech makes them, and so does Red Hill Training. So look out. And I got a Kydex holster from Red Hill Training for both my SIG P320 and my FN. The FN was a single layer, and it cracked, and he sent me a double layer for free. So good holster, and if he sends you one that breaks, he'll back it up.
Perfect.
But Blade Tech is also making them, so whoever sells Blade Tech, like Amazon or eBay or whatever.
Let's see here. If I can get a holster, I'll sign up, or maybe you'll do one of these in BC in a couple of years. That would give me some more time to practice and perfect my bad habits. Gold star for each of you three, and a lump of coal for Trevor. Thanks, Blind Sheepdog.
Now that I have answered the question, I want that coal thing fixed.
Yeah, just compress it under intense heat and you get a diamond.
There you
All
go.
right. I've added it as a gold star.
All right. All right, this last one comes to us from John. Hello again. This is John L., who we just heard from a second ago. I was wondering, since I'm not a competitive shooter and have only shot bullseye pistol in the past along with various planking at the range. I think he meant plinking, but maybe he was planking, that internet fad from a few years ago.
Yeah.
Funny place to plank at the range, but whatever, you do what you need to do there, buddy. How do you set up your sights for competition on your pistol? By that, there was a smart-ass remark there, but I'm gonna filter and carry on. By that, I mean I set up my sight so that I can hit the target.
I thought you weren't going to do...
It's too late. It slipped out. Okay.
Yeah, I think he means what distance do you zero at?
Well, he says by that, I mean how do you set up the point of impact versus point of aim in bullseye? Okay, there should be a period there. In bullseye, you set the black bullseye on top of the front post and your bullets climb into the center. I put Dawson precision fiber optic sights on my Glock 34, and I find that when I pick it up against a target, the fiber optic wants to center itself in the center of the bullseye or steel plate. Do you set it up so that the top of the post is where the bullet hits, or so that the center of the fiber optic is where the bullets hit, or some other methodology?
What I do. I do the second one.
Because the kinds of competitions that you do are so fast, it seems like the center of the fiber optic would superimpose on the center of the 80 zone or steel plate. Any help would be appreciated. As always, thanks for all you guys are doing. Yeah, what Trevor said. You set it up so that the bullet hits in the center of your fiber optic if you have a fiber optic. Because it's exactly that. It superimposes itself on the target and it's like a red dot. You just, wherever that fiber optic is, that's where the bullet hits. That's how we set ours up.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Now, some people will set it up so that they still have that quote-unquote 6 o'clock hold. I believe the bullseye hold that his sight picture he described is often also called a 6 o'clock hold. I could be wrong. So in other words, your front post sits at 6 o'clock directly below the X-ring, and the bullets climb into the X-ring.
Yep.
We don't do that. We put the fiber optic right on top of the X in the X-ring, and that's where we want the bullets to go.
if you're running a fiber optic. Now, for people who run just a straight blade sight with no like white dot or orange dot or tritium insert or anything, just a square black blade on the front and inside your notch in the back, most people will try to get the bullet to sort of bisect the top of the blade. So like half the bullet's on top and half the bullet's underneath. So like the very tip of the blade is where they want to put their point of impact.
Okay.
So anyhow.
Yep. So a lot of it has some personal preference in there, and you're fine zeroing between 10 and 15, and you'll be within the A zone at just about. Well, I had a 15 meter zero, and I got all my hits on 50 meter targets at nationals.
Yep. No. Yeah. Exactly. You'll be fine. Okay, cool. That's it for emails. I don't believe we have any iTunes reviews, so we'll rip past that. We got a shout out for Daniel Shaw, apparently. So
yeah, Daniel Shaw is recording. I was talking to him today. He's up to episode 103. So him and John McGregor were on 100 or 101, and he's been interviewing people up until his last one. Episode 103 will target the heartstrings and give you a lot to think about. And I definitely recommend that you go over and check that out. Just want to say, hey, welcome back, Daniel. And listeners, if you were a listener of Gunfighter Cast before, he's back and he's better than ever. So just giving you a heads up that he's back. So get over there and give it a listen.
Perfect.
And I have one for Nicholas, just saying hi. And he is the guy that actually writes the gun blog. Check him out.
Cool. All right. Patreon supporters are...
That's it?
Yeah, huh? So you're just breaking up there again. Okay, that's cool. You just keep shouting out random things as you break up, and then your audio finally comes through 6 minutes later. That's cool, though. No, carry on. I don't think we have any new Patreon supporters this week, but we did have one person update. James updated to 5.56, so that's appreciated, of course. We do have a special show. We have 2 bits of special promo material for our Patreon supporters, and so those have gone out. So hopefully you guys have had a chance to listen to that. And anybody else who'd like to be a Patreon supporter, go ahead, sign up. It all goes to a good place, and you get extra content, which is really fun for us to make and for you to listen to. And if you don't believe me, sign up and find out for yourself.
Well, quick question. If they sign up today, they still get, or if they sign up 3 months from now, they still get access to all the previous bonus materials, right? They don't just. All right,
I think so.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So there you go. So you'll get the newest stuff.
You won't miss out on anything.
Right, you'll get all the old stuff too.
Cool. All right.
And if you don't, well, then I was wrong.
And yeah,
sign up anyway.
Sign up anyway. Okay, so please join one or at least one of our national firearms associations. It's very important to support those who support us. So we have liberal government in power, and it's really more important than ever to be involved in the gun community. So sign up somewhere, help out. Join us on Gun Owners of Canada. We have a forum there where we post a show and chat with the listeners sometimes. So Gun Owners of Canada is a cool forum. You should definitely check it out. Please like us on Facebook. We're at 1,543 likes. We have, here we go, 116 thumbs up, 26 gold stars and counting, 2 flukes, 4 manatee flippers, 2 kangaroo thumbs, 1 safe space, 1 HK logo, 2 hobbit thumbs, 5 duck bills, 2 squirrel nuts, 2 honks, 2 1911 triggers, an ace of spades, a cartridge in a pear tree, and a pheasant in a pear tree. Pheasant in a pine tree.
I think at the start of 2017, we're going to wipe these out.
We're going to start again.
Yeah.
You know what? Although it is kind of funny
bankruptcy.
to see how long it could get. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, you know what we'll do? We'll do like the Patreon supporters. We'll just list the new ones we get. We won't keep a running total.
Whoa.
So
Don't
this week,
don't tell me what to do.
this week, for
I'm going to read whatever I want to read, and you read whatever you want to read.
Good enough.
I think Thomas Bryant should put it to music.
Oh man, I've heard his voice. Have you?
Yes, it's very angelic.
Kelly, have you heard his voice?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
All right.
Totally
Okay.
should. All right. Well,
angelic is a
it's a word.
word. It's a word.
We are well past the 2-hour mark at this point, and
Adriel needs to go buy guns. So can we hang up now?
So we can hang up now. Okay.
All
Goodbye.
right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Why could
So if you have any comments or questions for the show, please send an email to slamfireradio@gmail.com. Now go grab a gun and shoot something.
When the talking is over, it's time to get a gun.
Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 177, the pellet gun episode, if you will, of Slamfire Radio for October 21st, 2016. I'm one of your hosts, Matthew, the pellet gun guy.
And I'm Adriel177 is the best, Michaud.
And I'm Kelly, who has a Glock 17. Lynn?
And, I'm Trevor.
Is it a pellet gun one, though?
No, I don't have Pelican.
She's just got the 17 in there, which is close, but you're missing that extra 7 on the end.
I know.
And I'm Trevor. I lost it when I was 17 for a lot.
I don't think we can put that in, can we?
It's in. It's not true. It's in.
Yeah, that was awkward and terrible. Let's try that again.